Welcome back, boys and krills, to another PGBL battle, and this one's against the Bowland Bovines, and this guy's name is DrSlaking, a guy I've not played in the past, but just looking at his content on YouTube, he's actually a very good narrator. I actually watched a few of his earlier battles preparing for this match, and yeah, he's actually a really great narrator, so make sure you check him out. Link in the description, as always, to my opponent, and I cannot recommend him enough if you like these, kind of matches. So, yeah, so we're both coming in here 3-1, so you know it's going to be a really great match. We're actually in different conferences, so this, match isn't super important, but it's probably a little more important for me, just because the power in the Eastern Conference is just so great. We have Root and we have Visuali kind of above me in the division, while he's actually kind of sailing on the top of his division. So once again, a little bit division disparity here in the PGBL with the Eastern Division, really a lot more competitive than that Western Division, but it is what it is. We just have to keep winning, and we'll be fine. So there's my team. Don't really have anything to say about it. I haven't made any transactions. I don't know if I'm going to. I really do like the team. Might have to make one a bit later if we play Viz again. But anyway, so here's his squad. He has made some transactions, and annoyingly, the roster image has not been updated. Unless you see it updated, somewhat professionally looking here, in which case Root got it to me before I actually decided I needed to process this video, but probably not. So we're just going to go ahead and do this and stick the Pokemon images over top his original selections, which is kind of nice in a way because you can kind of see what he got rid of. Although I think he made a trade with another player, and then he dropped a couple Pokemon, so it kind of overlapped. So you don't see all the Pokemon that he had on his team at one point, but you kind of can see what his original team was and what he added. So looking at the squad, and once again we're going to have to face a Nido. This one time Nido Queen. But looking at the squad, there's actually a Pokemon that you wouldn't expect that I'm really worried about, but I definitely am, and that would be the Dodrio. If I had to say two Pokemon that I'm really worried about in this matchup, it's going to be the Dodrio and the Alakazam, because Dodrio has a sneaky speed tier at 110, and it hits really, really hard on the physical end, and I don't really have a whole lot other than Scarm to take damage from that Dodrio, especially if he Scarfs it. It can be a really big problem, and same with Hydreigon if he Scarfs that. Of course, you have Scizor, it has that priority, so we need to play around that, and yeah, same thing with Lucario. So he has really two powerful steel types with those priority, and of course the Zapdos. So let's all in all, a really actually well drafted team. You can see why he's 3-1. He has a lot of answers to a lot of things I usually try to do. In fact, I'm going to go ahead and bring a Dolphione that hasn't been brought yet, and that's Espeon. So Espeon is going to get its first start here, and I really do like the matchup of Espeon because I'm actually not going to go ahead and bring Scarm, so Magic Bounce is just a little bit more important. But Espeon actually had just terrific coverage. It speed ties at worst most of his Pokemon, including the Dodrio. And I'm actually going to go ahead and stick an Assault Vest on it, so it can take special hits a little bit better. It'll help survive a one-hit potentially from that Alakazam, who is obviously his biggest and scariest threat, that Mega Alakazam. The only downside, even though I'm going to bring Hidden Power Fire, is that Scizor will be able to match up really well against Espeon, especially if he decides to bring Pursuit. But I think Espeon should be able to hit everything else really hard, even that Hydreigon, obviously, with a Dazzling Gleam, due to Espeon's massive 130 special attack stats. So I'm not going to go into anything more than that. I've been trying to keep these PGBL intros brief. Let's go ahead and get into the match, and hopefully we can pull out a win. Alright, so there is the teams, and interestingly, he's not bringing the Lucario or Hydreigon, two of his higher-tiered Pokemon. But there's the Dodrio. We have to be really careful of that, and aside from that, not too different than I was expecting. So yeah, hopefully we can go ahead and, put a good prediction right off the bat. So he's going to go ahead and lead with his Zapdos. I lead with my Mega Manectric, figuring it's a pretty safe lead for what he brought. I can just go ahead and go for the Volt Switch, although I decide actually to predict the Nidoqueen. I actually decide to go for a Flamethrower here because it's pretty safe against whatever. And especially this Nidoqueen, which might come in to have the electric immunity. So that's what I do instead of Volt Switching. It ends up being a pretty decent play, because Flamethrower, like I said, hits everything on his team. Oh no, I just go for the Hidden Power Ice because it's perfect with Zapdos too. I lied. Okay, I'm getting my games confused. No, there we go. I went for the Hidden Power Ice, which is even better because it's super effective, although it's not a 2-hit KO. I did remember that, so I'm just going to go to my Espeon, and yeah, like I said, I'm Assault Vested, and if he does go for the Stealth Rocks, I have Magic Bounce. It's just an all-around good play. As he does goes for the Earth Power, as you can see, I do take that very nicely. I take a little over 40 damage, not much at all. And I decided to be a little aggressive here because I know that most of his Pokemon, other than this Scizor and his Alakazam, take a Psychic very, very poorly. Decide just to go for the Hidden Power Fire, end up getting rewarded for it, and here I'm worried about the Pursuit, so I'm like, okay, I calced it. I should be able to take one Bullet Punch from this range, unless he's Choice Banded, which we know he's not because his Aqua Berry triggered, and wow, there we go. We get Scizor down to some aggressive predictions right off the bat, but something I'm really, really happy about. And of course, it's Espeon who got the kill, who probably matches up the poorest against Scizor. So there we go. Gonna go ahead and go into my Manectric here against this Dodrio. He just goes for a return. And he gets a crit, hitting me down to 1 HP. I know that it's not banded because a crit band would have killed me. But so I'm definitely thinking Scarf here. So I decided to go out into my Mimikyu as he actually also switches out into Breloom, which obviously is a great double switch for me because I can just go for the Play Rough. Even if he does switch out into something bulky like the Zapdos, it still gets some decent damage here with a stab. Play Rough, so that's pretty nice. And I'm thinking, okay, do I want to set up against this thing? Probably not. Let's go ahead and keep my Disguise up for later. I'm going to go into my Espeon, who, like I said, has the Assault Vest, so I'm pretty sure I can take a Heat Wave or a Thunderbolt pretty nicely. And as you can see, yeah, it hits me down to a little bit below half, but still pretty healthy. And in comes the Alakazam. I just decided to go for the Psychic because it's just better against most of his team. Unfortunately, he does go into this, and I could have Shadow Balled. I was so tempted to Shadow Ball, just, continue to over-predict him, but no, he does get the Alakazam in, so good for him, and now he's going to get that scary Mega Evolution. I decided just to go into Mega Manectric to sack it off. It only has 1 HP left. We're going to go ahead and see what move he has, so that will give us a little bit of, a little bit of information. I also want to make sure he doesn't, copy one of my abilities that I don't want him to copy. So, yeah, he's just going to go for a Signal Beam, which is interesting. I was actually considering Signal Beam on my Manectric this week, although I decided against it. I went for the Hidden Power Ice, which is definitely better. But either way, going to go into my Mimikyu. Like I said, I still have the Disguise, and that was one of the reasons I wanted to keep the Disguise around is because this Alakazam is just so scary. I'm just going to go for the Shadow Claw. If he switches out, whatever. If not, I'm going to go ahead and take down this Alakazam. I do not want to risk it sticking around, so I'm get rid of that thing, which is amazing. But in comes the Dodrio again, and after calking, a Scarf Dodrio should not be able to KO me with Brave Bird, so I decided to stay in and get some more damage here. Unfortunately, he does. And interesting, like I said, he's not Choice Banded. He ends up revealing after the match, by the way, this is a Sharp Beak Dodrio, which increases his flying type moves by 10%, so that's why he was able to get the KO there. So, interesting by him, and I actually had no idea why it killed me without a crit there. I'm like, wait, what? Maybe I miscounted. But no, that's not the case. So, either way, going to go to Ditto. I was still kind of thinking that he might be Scarfed at this point. But no, he's actually not. So he knows that I'm going to be faster. I decided just to go for a return. Thankfully, my Ditto does love me. I didn't misgen that or anything. And it's going to be able to 2-KO this incoming Nidoqueen, which is pretty huge. And in comes his Breloom again. And I'm thinking, what I want to get Spore, because he could go for the Spore. He might not, though, because I still have Espeon around, who would be immune to that sort of thing due to the Magic Bounce. But he ends up just going for the Swords Dance, which is a pretty good play as I go out into my Garchomp. And I'm just going to go for the Outrage. I don't think it's going to kill, but it's going to be close. And as you can see, it survives with just a sliver of HP. Fortunately for me, though, if he does hit me with a contact move, Garchomp will be able to kill him back with the ability. Unfortunately, he does have Bullet Seed, which is not a contact move, and that will... After +2, it might take out my Garchomp if it hits more than 2 times. Fortunately for me, huge break. He only gets the 2 hits, and I do wake up this turn going for that Earthquake, and that will be able to take down the Breloom. So a little bit of the danger of murder. I still had Ditto in the back. So yeah, so still that's averted. In comes the Dodrio again. He ends up going for the knockoff. Which, like, again, I was saying, okay, he's probably locked in a knockoff at this point, but, no, it's whatever. I have the Scarf Keldeo anyway, who's gonna which is fine, because if he is Scarfed, he's locked into it. If he's not Scarfed, I outspeed. Just going to go for a Scald, which should be able to take this thing down. It does. And yeah, so I'm locked in a Scald with my Scarf Keldeo, and his last Pokemon is this Zapdos, who I don't think I will be able to kill with Scald, but I think I do about half with Scald, so it'll keep him from, like, roosting up against me. And as you can see, I do hit him down to red. He's going to get the Thunderbolt off. If he does kill Keldeo, I still have, obviously, my Ditto and my Espeon in the back, but he doesn't quite kill me, so I'm able to finish the match off here with Scald. So, yeah, great game there, DrSlaking. I'm really happy how I played early, getting those crucial predictions early, especially with that Espeon. Espeon had a great great game in its debut, so some people criticize my selection of Espeon, I must say, but it really did what it's supposed to do in its first game here, and we were able to pull off a win against a good team and a great player, so yeah, kind of happy with how this turned out. Anyway, today's question of the day is going to be, what is your least favorite Eeveelution? I know I've probably asked the question, what your favorite Eeveelution is. I don't know if I actually asked ever what your least favorite is, so let's go ahead and go with that. As for me, it's probably, just from a design and playability perspective, it's going to be Glaceon. Ice types are just so kind of bad, and the only reason to really use it is if you can get, like, a Hail up, and then it can just spam Blizzards with its huge attack stat. But honestly, everything it does, I mean, it's a special attacker with an incredibly bad defensive typing, and I really don't even like the design of it. I know I might get some hate, because I know there's some Glaceon fans out there, but I'm not a huge fan of it. It's too slow to really make use of its attack stat, unlike Espeon, who has the same special attack stat. But yeah, that's going to be my answer, and yeah, leave a comment about that. Thanks for watching, and hopefully the Dolphiones can continue this momentum as we now advance to 4-1. So, yeah, next week we're going to be playing Mars and his Houston. Wait, no, not Houston. That was a guy we already played. Mars is the LA Landorus. Okay, there we go. That's what he is. So yeah, leave a comment about that. See you guys again next time. Thanks for watching. Bye.